2, 1. Hi everybody, Mr. Higgins here, and I wanted to give some feedback for Photopea or Photopea. I'm a middle school teacher in Portland, Oregon. I do graphic design sort of stuff with middle schoolers. That's kind of like ages 10 through 14, depending. I wanted to give some feedback based on kind of the things that I see that are most useful for students and newcomers. I've been using Pixlr for about 8 years, but it's showing its age. They've had some issues with the advertisements getting larger and larger, especially if you're in a school, a low budget or no budget school where your screen resolution on your desktop is like 1280 by 1024. A 200 pixel ad eats up a lot of screen real estate, makes it difficult, and I'm really liking this website. So I'm thinking that maybe next year or next trimester I might start using it instead of Pixlr. But I just wanted to mention 3 things and give some feedback on 3 areas that I think are important for students and new users. Those are going to be the navigator. I remember I mentioned this in a Twitter comment before. And then also under layer, being able to add an image as a layer inside a project. And then also just some issues on the color, because those are 3 things. There's a lot that I think looks better than Pixlr, and I really like how it's being used, and some of the options that you can load up actual Photoshop files is awesome. So what I want to talk about first was the navigator. And I remember in the comment I made, well, you can do that Control plus Control minus, or if you kind of click in here, you can click back and hold down Alt to click back out. Why I think a navigator is really useful, and I'll just jump back here to Pixlr to kind of show that off, is especially for students, they sometimes don't have that much experience using hotkeys, and having a visual UI or a visual tool to move around very quickly, especially when doing some bigger detailed work, is really useful and is a good segue for students before they maybe master those hotkeys. There's a lot of things that you might presume as a graphics professional that might not be true of a student who's learning. Having that navigator, having that visual image right there, and being able to quickly check your size and if you're zoomed in really far is really useful for students and I think new users, and I miss it. Number 2, in Pixlr, one thing that I find super useful and the students use it very often, it saves a lot of time to start, is under layer. There's an option for open image as layer, and I can grab it, and if we're doing kind of a comp and putting some things together, doing a triptych, I can just layer open image and it brings it right in. I think that if I wanted to do that, I would go File, Open, I'd open the image, and then I use the hotkeys, that Control A, Control X, jump back over Control V, and that I could do that again and again. Open the next project, Control A, Control X, Control. So I might just be missing functionality there. That might be my fault. Thirdly, one thing that is really nice is with the colors. When choosing your colors, so I know you can kind of set some colors here. We have the brightness slider, and the brightness slider functionality works. I think that, again, this is for students. If you're a professional, you don't need this. But one thing, having your kind of colors out in front, or having a few colors to click back and forth from there, if you have that slider. So if you have that visual slider, that's nice for students to be able to see that gradation. And it's basically, I guess a lot of my feedback is just instead to have the option to have visual representation of things is good for students. I think that I'm going to start using it. It seems like I feel like it's running a lot better. There's a lot more advanced tools, and some of the options, especially the brush options, are way, way better than what I've been using before. So I'm excited to use it. I really wish that navigator were there, and if there's some functionality for bringing in a layer directly, bringing an image as a new layer directly into a project, that would be really nice for students. Okay, thank you. Bye.